This is 6 Minutes, the seriously international daily newscast. It's Tuesday, April 15th. I'm Anne-Sophie Goninet.
And I'm Jacob Shropshire. It's a balmy evening in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, as the sun rises over a brisk Sudbury, Canada. Here in the World Crunch newsroom in Paris, it's just after midday. These are the latest headlines. Russia's top envoy questions U.S. terms on a Ukraine peace deal. El Salvador newspapers are covering the White House visit of the country's controversial president. And our More Than a Minute feature explores why Syria has ended its national lottery. Our top story today is the offer by Israel of a 45-day ceasefire on the war in Gaza if Hamas releases half of the remaining hostages held in the enclave. The proposal also included a demand of disarmament of Hamas, which they say crossed a red line in negotiations. The hopes for a deal come a month into a blockade of aid into Gaza, with the UN saying Gaza is now in the midst of the worst humanitarian crisis since the start of the war. In Russia, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Tuesday that the partition of land in Ukraine proposed by U.S. negotiators made it, quote, not easy to agree to a deal for peace in Ukraine amid talks between the U.S. and Russia on the conflict. Meanwhile, Ukrainian military leaders said further Russian missile attacks struck the city of Sumy a day after a separate Russian strike killed 35 in the city. The UN reported that Sudan's civil war has displaced 13 million people over the last 2 years, with the Sudanese paramilitary Rapid Support Forces killing more than 400 people this past weekend. European and African leaders are set to meet in London today to discuss paths to end Sudan's war, with Britain saying it would provide £120 million, or $158 million, in aid to the war-torn African nation. Looking at today's newspaper front pages, we go to El Salvador, where daily El Mundo features coverage of Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele's visit Monday to the White House. Bukele told reporters that he would not send back to the U.S. a Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was wrongfully deported there last month by the Trump administration. Our More Than a Minute feature today comes from Syria. Pan-Arab news outlet Daraj looks into why the closing of the country's national lottery might say as much about religion under its new rulers as it does about economics.
There is no economic logic in closing the lottery, especially in the current situation where the Syrian state needs every source of money. Islamic tenets against games of chance almost certainly explain the closure.
Daraj journalists report that Syria's lottery brought millions into the state treasury, but after the fall of the Assad regime in December, confusion quickly spread across the institution, especially among lottery vendors. Anne-Sophie, tell us more.
One vendor who sold tickets for more than 30 years says he paid the equivalent of $600 in Syrian pounds to a lottery distributor just days before the collapse of Bashar al-Assad's regime. The payment was for tickets in a December 10th draw, a draw that never took place. On December 8th, the regime fell, abruptly halting the lottery and leaving the vendor, along with hundreds of others, uncertain about the future of their livelihoods. As weeks passed, it became clear that the new authorities had indefinitely suspended both weekly and annual lottery draws, creating a dual loss for vendors. They lost the money they had invested in tickets, and their entire source of income had vanished. Yet the fate of the lottery may hold clues to the new government's plans on both economic and religious questions.
So, is religious dogma the reason the lottery seems to be shuttered?
It seems that way, but it's still unclear. Some vendors say they've been told the lottery was cancelled because it violates Islamic law and is considered forbidden. Others point to a scandal over investigations into the Director General of the lottery institution, which indicate a financial corruption case. Whatever the reason, though, no one seems confident the lottery is likely to return. What we can be sure of is that the reason isn't economic. An editor at a Syrian financial news outlet told Daraj that, quote, the lottery institution differs from other government institutions which are usually loss-making because they provide essential services like public medical institutions, police, and the army. He said that, quote, most likely the closure stems from a religious ideological reasoning which now forms a fundamental part of Syria's new administration.
We're closing things out today with our daily quiz question, which comes to us from the Vatican. Pope Francis approved a decree recognizing the heroic virtues of a well-known figure from Spain in what may be the first step towards beatification. What renowned Spaniard could be on his way to Catholic Church sainthood? Is it A. Salvador Dali, B. Antoni Gaudí, C. Don Quixote, or D. Antonio Banderas? The correct answer is B. Pope Francis approved taking the first step to making a saint of renowned Catalan architect Antoni Gaudí, who is referred to by some as God's architect. Gaudí is best known for creating Barcelona's Sagrada Familia Basilica, and despite being a layman, was allowed by the Holy See to be buried there. The approval came as Francis signed a number of decrees while recovering from his respiratory infection.
That's the latest from around the world. If you like this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you could help us out with a follow, share, and a 5-star rating on your preferred podcasting platform. For more of the best of the international press delivered exclusively in English, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain!